Okay, this is a video for the Practical Assessment Activities Workshop for the NALA Tutors Forum. My name is Peter Cleary, I work for Tipperary ETB, and my email address is pcleary@tipperaryetb.ie, and you can find me on Twitter at ClearyPeter. There are 5 different activities which we're going to look at during this workshop. The first of these is preparing a meal. The second is using local services. The third is planning a trip. The fourth is my story. And the fifth is based around Operation Transformation. And just an overview on using assessment activities and assessment briefs for FETAC. Covering a FETAC module with your group does not mean doing anything different than you are probably already doing. So the work you're already doing with your students, for example, closed exercise, language experience, worksheets, phonic work, you still do that. You do the same work based on the student learning goals. We call that coursework. And at scheduled times, the students undertake assessment activities that are documented. These are documented in accordance with your Centre's Quality Assurance Agreement. So you do your coursework, that's your classwork, and then you do your assessment work. So coursework is also called formative assessment. That's assessment for learning. And summative assessment then is the assessment you would do for your FETAC folder. So that's the activity that the student does that's used to show the external examiner that they have reached the standard for, in this case, level 2. Second important thing to remember is learning outcomes should not be assessed individually, but as activities based in real life, in a real life context. Multiple learning outcomes from more than one component can be assessed and evidenced within a single number of activities. That means you can do a reading, a writing, listening, speaking, and computer activity all in the one activity. So you can meet the learning outcomes for reading, writing, computers, listening and speaking. You can meet them all with one activity. In this workshop we will look at activities which can be used to assess reading and writing at level 2. The first activity is planning a meal. The focus of the activity is learning the reading and spelling around food preparation, the benefits to the student, writing, shopping list, notes, menus and instructions, and reading labels, reading signs, lists, recipes and following instructions. The assessment activity will include reading and writing following a recipe, reading and writing safe food preparation, reading and writing an invitation, reading and writing a recipe, following a recipe, writing a menu, writing the steps to cooking rice, writing a shopping list. So those are the assessment activities. Now with regard to preparing a meal, the coursework that you can do to underpin this, that means the classwork you will do. This is not assessment work, but work that you can carry out before you do assessment. So in the area of writing, closed exercises, worksheets, word searches, dictionary work, look, say, cover, write and check, paired and group work using the DOLT list and using the SNP literacy. Just to go on a few of those. Look, say, cover, write and check. The Ambleside website is a good site for doing this if you can do it with a pen and paper, but you can also do it online. And Ambleside, look, say, cover, write and check is a good website to do this. You have a certain number of words that are already in there. to here because beautiful friend. But you can also write those words. Do a word search. Student. Send the word. So we use that to learn the words as you do. Normally, the same thing with pen and paper if you don't have access to a computer, or if your student doesn't want to use a computer. Under the area of reading, you can use language experience, paired reading, guided reading, that means using audio supported reading, using level appropriate readers, using phonic awareness tools, reading recipes, reading menus, reading food names for a shopping list, reading shop signs, and reading measures. So they are all the class activities that you can do in the area of reading and writing. And materials that you could use are dictionaries, flashcards, ready reference, laminated cards of keywords, put those up around the classroom, food packaging, supermarket brochures that come in through our door all the time. You can use them, bring them into the class, use them with the student, and also supermarket websites. I use the Tesco website, which is good for getting a picture of the product and the spelling of the produce. And activities that you can carry out, field trips to supermarkets. We've done this, gone to a supermarket, taken pictures of the different products on the shelf. Tesco didn't allow us to do this, but SuperValu did. And also we've had guest speakers in, people who are used to maybe run a restaurant or something like that, talking about preparing meals. All can be good as coursework. So at certain intervals during the coursework, then you can carry out assessment activities. In the level 2 writing component, there are 4 learning outcomes that you will need to cover. Learning outcome 1 is write notes and messages needed for simple tasks. Learning outcome 2, write including drafting at least 5 sentences so that they convey meaning or information. Learning outcome 3, use the rules of writing appropriately, for example, spelling familiar words accurately, checking the spelling of less familiar words, and using capitals and full stops. Learning outcome 4, use a range of different forms of writing to suit purpose and audience, for example, instructions involving 3 steps or a short journal entry on an event or experience. So, to cover learning outcome 1, write notes and messages needed for a simple task. I've chosen for this preparing a meal activity, I've chosen to create an assessment task which involves writing a shopping list. We'll have a look at that now. This is an example brief. Program title, certificate title, and our certificate is a certificate in general learning. The program is Learning for Life. It's level 2, and the component title is writing. Assessment technique is collection of work, and here the assessment guidelines. This is where you set out exactly what the student has to do. And for this, we say you're cooking chicken curry for a friend. To do this, you first need to go shopping. You will need to write a shopping list. This list should contain at least 5 items. Make sure all spelling is correct. Write the list in the space provided below. Set out the learning outcomes that are covered in this task. And in this case, learning outcome 1, learning outcome 3, and learning outcome 4 is covered. The shopping list. In this case, the student will write out the shopping list. It's important here to remember that the student will have practiced this during the coursework, so it won't be anything new to them. They should be fairly confident of doing it correctly at this point when we give them the assessment. See there we covered 3 learning outcomes with that task. Writing learning outcome 2. Write including drafting at least 5 sentences so that they convey meaning or information. So for that, to cover that learning outcome, I've asked the student to write an invitation. Again, under the assessment guidelines, you are asked to write a note to a friend inviting them to a meal you are cooking. The invitation should include where the meal is on, what has been served, and the time to be there. Use correct punctuation and spelling. Same layout as the first one. It's covered for writing learning outcome 1 through 4. We have further assessment examples here. Create a menu and write cooking instructions. For learning outcome 4, you'd write 3 steps, or you could also include a journal entry. So there are a number of activities or assessment activities for level 2 writing. So I'll continue now with reading. Reading, learning outcome 1. Read familiar words that are commonly used and personally relevant. For example, read a list of items relating to a personal interest, sport, or hobby. Learning outcome 2. Use simple rules and text conventions to support meaning. For example, punctuation, common abbreviations. Learning outcome 3. Interpret different forms of writing and text, including social sites, signs, and symbols. For example, common formats of bills, menus, forms, timetables, road and other signs. Simple food preparation instructions, short piece of personal relevant writing. Find key information from different forms of writing, for example, locating factual information in forms and bills. Time and date of appointment. Learning outcome 5. Use reading strategies, for example, clues, context, sound, prediction, and decoding. Learning outcome 1. We read instructions to make a chicken curry, so have to follow a recipe and then to write the answers to that. So that includes a writing outcome. For learning outcome 3, read safe food preparation instructions. For learning outcome 4, read a receipt. That would be from the shopping aspect to get the ingredients for the activity. There are a number of assessment briefs covering the learning outcomes for reading and writing. So for reading, there are 5 learning outcomes. For writing, there are 4 learning outcomes. That's 9 in total, but you can cover all of those 9 by 3 or 4 assessment briefs. So that's the activity of preparing a meal.